Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Here are the top 10 deep sea curses that need to stay submerged, part 2. You wanted more curses, here you go. Let's get cursed together on a Monday. Kicking off the list at number 10, Selkies. Yeah, we'll kick this part 2 off with some Scottish mythology. How fun is that? Selkies were a load of fun. You would remember these ones if you saw them in person, definitely. Selkies were described as a sea lion almost in appearance, only there's a noticeable feature here that sets them apart. See, they can shed their skin and then take on the form of a human being. Nice, how lovely, we love it. Haggis and Selkies, all aboard. Let's go to Scotland, that's always fun. Their origins go back to the shores of Orkney and Shetland. So Scottish, those names, I love it. Yeah, I live in Shetland. The weather's shite, and over in Shetland. It's shite in Shetland. One tale is pretty haunting. I'm for sure counting this as a curse because, well, how else would you describe this scenario? When a female Selkie shed her skin once upon a time, a sailor captured her. He didn't know what he was in for at first because after he caught her, they, thinking it was a fish, sea lion creature, they were then forced into marriage. Legally, I guess, by the sea? I don't know how curses work. If the Selkie were to ever find her skin, her original sea lion fish form skin, at that point her husband would pass away instantly, and then she would be free to go back into the sea. Yeah, it's like Finding Nemo 3, maybe. That sounds like a decent plot. The ultimate right swipe. What a curse. He's like, I think I got a, oh no, it's a wife. If you're ever fishing or sailing the high seas near Scotland, anything that resembles a sea lion, just don't go near it. Don't marry it, okay? Don't go near her at all. She'll take your house and your car and your kids. You don't want any part of that smoke. She'll take everything. Number 9, Roman sea curse. The 1st century, a good place to begin with most things that are horrible. Let's talk about the Romans. The Romans did things a little different back in time. We can't figure out how they engineered aqueducts yet, or how that many people watched Colosseum battles. I can't watch an armbar on YouTube, let alone bring my family to the Colosseum. No idea how that happened, but they did it. Ancient Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder, he once wrote a book on natural history, and in this book, this go-to on ancient history that we still study and refer to in school, the Elder wrote about a half-human, half-fish creature that he called Nereids. Okay, he even added to this first observation detailing that the human parts of the body were covered in rough scales. Human in appearance, but still fishy nonetheless. The Elder also recalls a seaman who would climb ships at night and sink them. Yeah, like Aquaman, only he doesn't help people. He just sinks your ship. And then you die in the sea. This is awful. Is he a curse? Is he a villain? Is this man like a super villain? I don't even know what to categorize this as. Curse, definitely a curse. Never going in the sea again. Number 8, Kalaupapa. Heading over to the beautiful Hawaii for this one. Always wanted to go. Unfortunately, now I'll never go. Haunted villages are not my thing, but if it's yours, you're in for a treat. Let's talk about it. This was once referred to as the most cursed place on Earth. Not bad, good in a resume. The coast of Molokai sounds like a good time, and from Google Earth, it looks like a paradise, really. But for over 100 years, this was an isolation coast for patients with leprosy. Yeah, long before a cure or any idea of scientific knowledge was even a thing. That, of course, had to change sometime. The laws did in 1969. Right now, barely anybody is living on that part of the island due to its haunted past. Leprosy was considered a curse back then, literally. I'm not even making that up. That's all they thought it was. But even when help became available, some elderly patients stayed on the island. So a few thousand people were stuck on this island for almost 10 years. And some of them were like, I'm not even moving anymore. No, that's it. I mean, to be fair, yeah, you get forced to stay on an island. They're like, okay, you're good to go, you're free. It's like, no, we're 97 now. We're done. Thanks. Enjoy the medicine. We're done. Number 7, Nauru. It's safe to say the last few years have been a little rocky. Our plans had to shift a little bit, to say the least. Nauru, however, is a tiny island located in the southwestern Pacific. And they didn't have to shut anything down during this pandemic. If anything, their lives have just stayed the same. It's the world's smallest island nation. It was originally called Pleasant Island back in 1798 when Westerner John Fern first discovered it. It started out pleasant, I guess like most islands do, and then when humans get up close and start leaving garbage around, it all goes to The island's natural resource was phosphate, but overmining made the tiny island pretty much useless now, so now they consider it cursed because of its bad history. I'm like, nope, I think that's just humans getting a little greedy, but we'll call it cursed, because it's an island, and it's nice. Number 6, Kei Islands. Back in 1943, Japanese soldiers were posted up on the Kei Islands in Indonesia. They claimed to have run into a singular mermaid numerous times. She would just flip around and say what's up, hey. It's like my octopus teacher, only with a haunting mermaid instead. On the Kei Islands, multiple encounters with multiple mermaids are normal. The villagers referred to these creatures as orang iken. Orang translates to human, and iken to fish. Human fish. mermaids. While on patrol, Sergeant Taro Horiba had instructed the village chief to pass on any information if anyone sees any of these things. Of course, once I hear about this, I'd be like, yeah, can someone tell me if you see this? I would love to have a glimpse. Somebody saw one, and then they ended up capturing it, and then Sergeant Horiba recalls the mermaid as being around 5 feet tall, and their skin was pinkish, its face was human, but it had spikes around their head, and its mouth was that of a fish's mouth. So pretty haunting and pretty hard to forget, I would say. This was 1943, so not that long ago, but again, the scientific community wasn't exactly sold yet. Nothing ever came from this, obviously, or else we'd hear from it. But weirdly, I believe this encounter. It's like when it comes to curses and areas, some are kind of fishy, pun intended. This one's believable. I don't know. A carp mouth is more believable than silvery blonde hair and flirting with you as you pass by. You know what I mean? If it's described as something haunting, I'll believe it. Number 5, the Bermuda Triangle. Ah, the old classic. How cursed is this historical triangle? Do disappearances still happen today? Well, yes, definitely, absolutely. Are there the same amount of disappearances all over and not just that specific triangle in any way, shape, or form? Also yes. The Bermuda Triangle, given the amount of volume it sees every year, does not see more shipwrecks per se, but back in the early 19th century, there was a few disappearances that I could see definitely being cursed. I could see why we'd avoid that one specific Illuminati-shaped area of the ocean. The USS Cyclops, for example, this was a historic one. So far, the leading theory on this ship's fate is a rogue wave, kind of like an interstellar, just a random, massive wave that just ruins everybody's day. But it's never been found, so we still have no idea to this day. The USS Cyclops went missing back in March 1918 in the Triangle of Doom. Sadly, there were no survivors. The wreck is still MIA. With many of these ships not even making a distress call, the tales are bound to follow. The cursed idea is bound to, set in place. When it comes to sea curses, we're only just scratching the surface with the USS Cyclops. Later on in 1945, there was another incident. This one as well, pretty noteworthy, all things considered. 5 torpedo planes went missing carrying 14 men. That was bad already, but the search plane that went looking for them also went missing in the same area. So cursed? Yeah, I don't know what else to call that. It's a pretty specific area nonetheless. Number 4, the Kraken. For ages now, sailors from Norway and Greenland have shared tales of a giant sea monster. Very specific one that they call the Kraken. It's got tentacles big enough to pull you out of your boat. So yeah, you'll remember it. You're gonna want to talk about this. In 1857, Danish naturalist Japetus Steenstrup found a large squid beak. And soon after, this man was sent parts of another specimen from the Bahamas. So everyone was on board. They were trying to figure this out as a community. So he concluded with all this evidence that the Kraken is very real. And it's part of a species of giant squid called Arthitusius dux, which translates to ruling squid in Latin. Sounds very evil. Very little is known about giant squid in general. They're so hard to track, but when we did get a photo of one in 2005 and then a video of another in 2013, it's fitting the picture. Things are starting to connect. I don't know, some dots are connecting. Legend has it this thing is very real. Eyewitness reports from sailors describe a 60-foot long, tall, wide, huge giant squid. Again, could have been one of these newly discovered giant squid, but who's really to tell? The sea is massive, and I'm open to this. I'm open to monsters and curses for sure. Number 3, Sirens, aka more mermaids. Here we go. The mythology surrounding Sirens is interesting, but I don't really think we have any Atlanteans flirting with sailors. I don't think that's a real thing. But Christopher Columbus might disagree. On his first trip overseas in 1493, Christopher Columbus claims to have seen not 1, but 3 sirens. They followed him. He even wrote about it. He said they rose well out of the sea, but they are not so beautiful as they are said to be. Dr. Seuss guy, is he rhyming now all of a sudden? Who does he think he is? For their faces had some masculine traits. I think I would be a very cute mermaid. Thank you very much, Chris. I mean, I don't know what that means. Okay. So what did he see? I mean, when it comes to correctly identifying places or people, obviously Chris can get confused. Yeah, he's not really the go-to guy. So historians believe Columbus may have seen a few manatees, which is even funnier now. He's like, yeah, mermaids aren't that attractive. Chris, those are manatees. Those aren't humans. He's like, oh, damn. It's like, you thought they were a little attractive, Chris? Their skin is pink and fleshy, so that's a fair mix-up, I guess. Not really cursed at all, but I'm like, yeah, it's the things that happen around all that is quite cursed. Number 2, the Baltic Sea Anomaly. This one, pretty cursed aliens, I don't know, somewhere in the middle, here we go. Back in 2011, divers accidentally discovered this 60-meter wide, 300-meter long entity. We'll say that. or a rock. It's a big shaped rock. They found it 90 meters down in the Baltic Sea, right in the Gulf of Botnia. It's round in shape, so naturally people think this thing is a UFO that was lost many moons ago. The diving team returned, obviously, but they couldn't get a clear shot of it because there was interruptions. There was some mysterious electrical interferences when they tried to get close. A little odd right there. Those aliens in there have ad blocker or something. I don't know what's going on. Samples of the rock were studied and the Ocean X team gave them to a professor at Stockholm University, and among the samples were granite and sandstone. So do you guys think this is a natural rock formation? Kind of seems like it is here, but what's up with the failing technology around it? Is something else going on? Some say it's the Millennium Falcon. I don't know. The force is strong with this one. Number 1, Atlantis. Of course, we have to end on the lost city of Atlantis. What happened? Was the island cursed from the beginning? Is it a warning to the other islands near it? This map here is from 1664, and the creator of the map, Athanasius Kircher, who was a scholar who studied ancient Egypt and volcanoes, pretty historical resume, pretty accurate resume, all things considered. He also included an island that does not exist, or maybe once did and now it doesn't. He claimed the island was sourced from Egyptian maps, that he found a map in those archives and that's where he got it from. It wasn't like his idea or anything. This is starting to feel like national treasure a bit. I'm into this. The first story of Atlantis was written in 360 BC, and the description Plato gave was a lot different than how we would imagine a deep sea paradise city. He actually described it as an imperfect society. It was a cursed society, if anything, that had become corrupt by its own wealth. Atlantis is starting to sound a lot like Gotham City. I don't really think I want to go there anymore. Oh boy. Maybe that's why Batman and Aquaman, now I'm getting it. Researchers have come to a conclusion that if this island was not underwater and it was still somehow on the surface, well, they'd probably be quite aggressive. Nothing like Disney's Atlantis at all. It would just be like those uncontacted tribes, realistically. Guys, those are the top 10 deep sea curses that need to stay submerged part 2. If you want a part 3, I'll find some more curses out there. I'll find some more evil entities lurking in the seas. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you next time. Most amazing. Bye. And it's all the same. It's like Star Wars too. It's like, oh, here's a head and a cape. He wants some planet to blow up. Spoilers for the next Star Wars. Spoilers for 1 to 9. Scottish, Selkies, not Scottish. The Scottish were all cursed. No. Number 8, Kalaupapa. Oh, I was like, I'm missing a letter. Kalaupapa. I'm like, Kalaupapa. Due to its haunted past. All right, I leave the T there. Why do I stand like a superhero sometimes? I'm like, number 6, don't smoke. Number 6, Kei Islands. And it's part of a species of giant squid called I just heard you pause. I'm like, yeah, you might want to pause. I was saying, Architeuthis ducks. Architeuthis ducks. And it's part of a giant. Mermaids are not that. Starts. Line. I'm like, we're too into the details here.